It's figure eight racing from Riverhead, Long Island. We're about 50 miles from New York City on the east end of Long Island. Hello, everyone. I'm Leandra Riley, and joining me in this telecast is the Riverhead Raceway track announcer, Bob Finan. And, Bob, a lot of our ESPN auto racing fans are familiar with the Grand National stock cars and the late model sportsmen. What is the figure eight for our viewers who don't know?
Well, the figure eight cars, first, as far as looks go, resemble maybe a Midwestern late model or street stock. But that's where the similarity ends. Figure eight cars have to be prepared to make a left-hand turn, a right-hand turn, and then there's the key aspect of figure eight racing, the intersection. The intersection is where the lead cars may crisscross with some of the end of the pack automobiles, and it can make for some very exciting and unpredictable racing.
Once again, alluding to our Grand National stock cars, most of our drivers hail from south of the Mason-Dixon line. Where do our figure eight drivers come from?
Well, that's really not the case in figure eight racing. There are figure eight tracks all across America. But today here at Riverhead, we have drivers from Mount Clemens, Michigan. We're expecting a couple automobiles up here from the Maryland area. And we have our weekly competitors that run with us every Saturday night.
We have announcers all over the track, and our pit reporter for this telecast is Marty Reed.
Well, just like any other form of motor racing, there are certain rules and guidelines that the figure eight racers have to go by. Bill Steen, for example, most of the guys run six-cylinder engines.
Yes, they do. In the figure eights, we run six cylinders because they run better on a figure eight course than V8 would. The turns are tighter, so you need the quick pickup with the low-end torque, and it's a little less expensive than running a V8.
There's also some reinforcement allowed around the entire car.
Right. You have to have Nerf bars on the sides because in running the tight turns, there's always contact wheel to wheel, and if you didn't have the sidebars on, you wouldn't finish the race.
Speaking of the wheels, the tires are allowed to be out and negative camber for obvious reasons.
Right. When you enter the turns on such a sharp angle and they're banked, you're going to need some negative camber because the wheel's going to want to tuck out.
There's one other thing we haven't talked about, courage going through the X. That's a driver.
Yes, you have to keep an eye on the far turn and make sure that you can either beat them through or let up and get tucked in behind them. If you meet in the X solid, you're going to be done for the day, that's for sure.
Thank you, Marty Reed. Bob Meyer, one more point I think we should bring up for our viewers. Anybody who races figure eights, they're in it for love, not for money.
Well, there's no way they would be able to make a living out of racing a figure eight stock car. There are a bunch of guys who like to race weekly, like many people do across the United States on short tracks all over the country, and they get about $100 to $300 to win at most figure eight tracks. So you can see where the $1,000 first prize and World Championship crown is very prestigious to them.
Prestige and a lot of money at stake in figure eight automobile racing, and it looks like our cars are ready to come onto the track.
Okay, Leandra, and the first order of business here this afternoon is going to be 3 qualifying heats. We'll be eliminating some automobiles. Top 5 cars across the line in each of these 3 heat races will move into the 25-lap feature event. Then we'll have one last chance at qualifying. It's known as the Consolation event, where we'll be taking the top 8 automobiles and moving them into the World Championship figure eight race. And we have 7 guaranteed starters making up our 30-car field for today's event.
All right, Bob Finan, let's quickly go over who's competing in this first heat. As you said, it is 15 laps. We have Dan Marcello, Bob Mason, Bill Stocker, Tom Ryan, Jerry Bowers, Spencer Hulk, Dan Watts, and Paul Galvin's supposed to be out here, but we heard some rumors to the fact that he might not make it to the second heat. We'll keep you posted whether or not he's going to be on the track. It looks like we're ready to race.
Yes, indeed, and Bobby Mason takes the early advantage here as starter Ray Marciano displays the green flag. Tom Ryan, the sophomore driver in car number 09, tucks in the second behind, racing Bobby Mason. Key aspect of figure eight racing just about to come up, Leandra. You see Mason heading towards the X intersection. this being a heat race, there's not that much traffic there now, but later on in today's feature event, that's going to be the busiest road on Long Island without question.
That's for sure. With only 7 or 8 cars out there, it won't be a problem unless the cars really get spread out. And as you can see, they're pretty close together. And Bob Mason is still our leader with Tom Ryan in close pursuit as we continue with this first heat, 15 laps for the figure 8 championship.
Looks as though this may become a 3-car battle real soon as Jerry Bowers from upstate Cairo, New York, has moved in on the leading duo.
But this is Bob Mason from Islip. We should add that in this figure 8 world championship, $1,000 will go to the first place winner, $600 for second, $400 for third. But this is just the qualifying heat to get into those finals.
And the action beginning to pick up as last year's Rookie of the Year, Tom Ryan, really begin to put pressure on the veteran, 10-year veteran Bob Mason in car number 17. It's a good battle now.
And the 1, 2, 3 cars are on the same lap, but you'll see that car number 22, Dan Marcello, he's actually a lap back. So our race is really a 3-car race, as you said, and it looks like we're seeing some racing going on right in the middle of the X here as Tom Ryan tries to make a move right now.
The young sophomore driver is a very, very likable young man, and he picked up on this figure 8 game. He was last year's Rookie of the Year. He knows the quick way around this Riverhead Raceway Oval.
Bob Mason still holding on to the lead, and Jerry Bowers is really pushing Tom Ryan as he tries to overtake second place. Still 3 cars very, very close in this 15-lap feature.
Bowers did not compete for most of the 1985 season, but this being the World Figure 8 Championship Day, Bowers has brought the number 49 down from upstate New York and is in contention right now for the win in heat number 1.
He's making his move. Looks like he's got second. You know, Marty Reed brought out in the pits a little earlier that a lot of contact goes on in this non-contact sport. You can see why they need those bumpers.
No doubt about it, the Nerf bars are the saving grace on these automobiles. They do bang into each other a little bit as they negotiate the left turn, the right turn, and of course the busy intersection as we have a change for the lead position.
And Jerry Bowers is overtaken number 1. Jerry Bowers is our leader, and right now in second place it is Tom Ryan, and slipping down to third is Bob Mason. But Bowers holds the lead. That was a bad move there by Tom Ryan. He took the turn wide and gave Bowers a little bit more space up front.
Well, Bowers used to do this steadily many years ago. He's about a 12-year veteran in this sport, and he knows the quick way around a figure 8 track as well.
All right, we have a spin out. You can't see it right now, but Dan Marcello in the 22 car has been red flagged, so everybody has to stop. And while they are stopping, we are going to take a pause for a commercial message. Once again, recapping, Jerry Bowers, our leader in this first heat feature. Stay with us here in Riverhead, Long Island.
This buzz for all that you do. In the minors, you must have called it all 1,000 times, but you never lost sight of the dream.
I got a telegram for you, Tony.
Okay, thanks, Pop.
Hi, babe. Hey, guess what? I got your call. Yeah? Brenda Majors.
You got a shot, you'll take it.
What's this, rookie umpire?
You got the heart to make it. You got the fire, that big league desire. You keep on reaching higher. You make America work, and this buzz for you. Here's to you. Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste that makes Budweiser the king of beer.
Hi. Compliments from the gentleman over there.
This buzz for you.
NHL hockey on the ESPN, the most exciting action on television. Each week through the Stanley Cup Finals, ESPN's outstanding live coverage brings you the top teams and players. The Edmonton Oilers and the Philadelphia Flyers face off in the season premiere of the NHL's Best. Live Thursday night, October 9th at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN.
And welcome back to Figure 8 Racing. I'm Leandra Riley along with Bob Finan, and we're about 5 laps from the finish, Bob.
Jerry Bowers has taken over the command position here in the first heat, and ever since he's been out front, he's been able to keep Tom Ryan at bay as they wind down with just about 4 laps remaining right now in this heat race event.
As you saw right before we went to our commercial break, Dan Marcello did have to leave the track, but that did not affect our top 3 drivers. Jerry Bowers, the leader, followed by Tom Ryan and Bob Mason.
Marcello will get one more opportunity to qualify, as we mentioned earlier, Leandra. He'll be running in the Consolation event. Right now, 2 groups of cars on the raceway battling for position. Bowers and Ryan continue to battle for the lead. And further back, Bob Mason has his hands full with Bill Stockert and Dan Watts Jr. as 2 separate battles on the raceway.
We should add that Paul Galvin was scheduled to compete in this heat. He will be in the second heat instead. But right now, the story is Jerry Bowers and Tom Ryan, as they are 1 and 2 in this race at Riverhead.
I think Ryan may just be content to sit back as they get the white flag from starter Ray Marciano. I don't think he wants to push the issue. He's in second position, and he will be in the World Championship Figure 8 race. So I think he's just pretty much going to sit back and let Bowers go the rest of the way to victory.
All right, you saw the white flag. The final lap is underway, and the checkered flag will go to Jerry Bowers as he goes back to the pits after he gets a checker flag in his victory lap to tweak his car for the championship final. And there's one happy Jerry Bowers, the winner here of heat number 1 in the Figure 8 Championship qualifying finals. This is a 22nd annual Figure 8 Championship stock car race. We should add it has been up in Islip, New York. This is the first year it's been at Riverhead.
Yes, the World Championship Figure 8 race used to be held at the world-famous Islip Speedway. But after the 1984 season was completed, Leandra, the property was sold at Islip Speedway. And unfortunately, the 1/5 of a mile oval no longer exists as a racetrack.
And Jerry Bowers has been handed the checkered flag. The crowd is happy to see this man from Cairo, New York, win heat number 1. We'll see him again in the finals. Stay with us.
The upset of the week is brought to you by Pepto-Bismol. For most common stomach discomforts, the one that coats is the only one you need. On paper, the Hamlet Cup men's final looked like a dress rehearsal for the U.S. Open. Yvonne Lendl against John McEnroe as Johnny Mac continued his return to tennis. But it was clear McEnroe's game is still rusty as Lendl beat him 6-2, 6-4. The week didn't get much better for McEnroe either. He lost his first-round match at the U.S. Open. John McEnroe's sputtering comeback, the Pepto-Bismol upset of the week.
Tomorrow is homecoming, and this campus will be filled with parents. But today, Jane's dad is coming home with a bad case of diarrhea.
I feel so weak.
Aw, let's get you into bed.
Tomorrow's homecoming.
You won't miss it.
The one he needs is Pepto-Bismol. As it coats, it soothes heartburn and upset stomach, as well as diarrhea.
I'm so glad you're here.
Oh, me too, honey.
Pepto-Bismol, the one that coats, is the only one you need.
It's back, and it wants to come inside. But True Value hardware stores can help seal out winter with cold weather protection, like DAP acrylic latex caulk with silicone that forms a weatherproof paintable seal. And DAP 33 glazing sticks tight to windows. It's only $2.88 a quart. Protect outdoor wood with Woodlife Preservative from Weldwood, just $8.99 a gallon. And get Remove-A-Seal, just $2.88, for a clear seal you can peel off next spring. You'll find it at most True Value hardware stores and home centers.
And the results from Heat 1 of this Figure 8 World Championship qualifier, Jerry Bowers, Tom Ryan, and Bob Mason. Let's go to Marty Reed.
Obviously not a good heat for Danny Marcello. Danny, first you got spun out, then you ran straight into the wall. This is not an everyday occurrence for you, is it?
No, it's not an everyday occurrence. They made me put regular street tires on the car.
Why? Because you're running a V8?
Yeah. It's very hard to make the car run like that.
So the question is, are you going to be able to get this piece back together for the Consolation heat?
Yes, I will.
You guarantee that you'll be there. You heard it first. Danny
Guaranteed.
Marcello will be back again.
Danny Marcello, one of the few drivers who did not finish in Heat 1. We should have that Bill Stockert and Dan Watts Jr. did qualify for the finals. Now we are on Heat number 2, and you're looking at Tom Kraft. He is our leader in this 15-lap feature.
And he's being chased down right now by Gino Terrapicchio and rookie campaigner Bob McDermott in a 3-car battle for the lead.
Quickly, let's go over who is in this race. This is Bob McDermott, Gino Terrapicchio, Joseph Biondolillo, and he's senior, I should add. His son will be seen a little later on. Tom Kraft, Bob Lord, James Hulse, Don Gurley, Ed Purcell, and Paul Galvin are all in Heat number 2 here at Riverhead.
Kraft continues to set the pace, car number 9, but you can see how close Gino Terrapicchio is getting as Kraft has to slow for traffic at the X.
Now, Gino Tirapicchio has, oh, whoa, we've got trouble here at the wall.
Little contact being made by Bobby McDermott as he tried to edge underneath Tirapicchio for that second position, resulting in Tirapicchio spinning. See it again, McDermott getting a wheel underneath Tirapicchio, contact being made, and the number 74 spinning up in turn number 1. McDermott almost hit the wall solid on, but luckily it was only a glancing blow.
So they're keeping the racetrack going, no red flags. The drivers will continue, and since there's no mechanical damage, racing resumes. This is Tom Kraft. He is our leader by a comfortable margin. As the white flag comes out, 1 lap to go.
Only one more trip around the Riverhead Raceway for Tom Kraft, and he'll take the nod in heat number 2. Kraft, a 6-year-plus veteran of this figure 8 game here on Long Island, coming up on some lap traffic, but it looks as though Tom's going to speed on to victory.
And that he does. Our winner is Tom Kraft. He'll qualify for the finals, followed by Bob McDermott and Gino Tirapicchio.
Unfortunate set of circumstances between McDermott and Tirapicchio, Leandra, because off the racetrack, they're very good friends.
And there you see the results. Tom Kraft driving the number 9 car is our winner, followed by Bob McDermott, Gino Tirapicchio. Ed Purcell also qualifies, as does Dan Gurley.
There's Tom Kraft and his Georgie Porgy's Mustang taking his victory lap. A happy gentleman right now. He'll be a lot happier if he can repeat that later on in the feature event.
And you saw Marty Reed talk to this man. This is the Marcello car that did not finish in heat number 1. They're trying to get ready for the Consolation, and while they're working on that car, we're going to work on a timeout. When we come back at the 3rd heat, the Figure 8 Championship.
If you own a house, you gotta own a shop vac. This baby's got the power to pick up almost anything.
Got broken glass, nails, or wood chips? Shop vac gobbles up stuff that would kill an ordinary vacuum. And a shop vac wet dry can even vacuum water like a flooded basement. The washing machine is flooding the house.
No. Every house needs a shop vac. Starting at under $50, a shop vac is heavy duty, not heavy money. And remember, if it doesn't say shop vac, keep shopping.
Alan Abelson, the editor of Barron's.
Usually buy a stock in the expectation that it's going to go up. The problem is you're buying it from someone equally convinced that it's going to go down. Now, who would you rather be? The person who reads Barron's or the person who doesn't?
Subscribe to Barron's now and get 26 weeks for only $41 with a money-back guarantee. Call 800-554-9000. 800-554-9000.
Friday, see 2 of the world's top middleweights live on ESPN. Undefeated Michael Nunn, who's building a reputation for power and speed, takes on master technician Mike Tinley. The Friday night fights, live at 9 Eastern, only on ESPN.
We are back, and this is elimination heat number 3, and there you see the white flag is out with Dan Avondette out in front by a lot.
Danny Avondette, a former champion at the old Isom Speedway, showing his wares here today. He has a 10-car advantage over the rest of the pack.
Ralph Tasso, Paul Gordewald, John Zell, Bill Steen, the top runners in this as we see the checkered flag come out in this 3rd and final qualifying heat for the finals.
Nice job done by the veteran, Danny Avondette.
A tire out of the track. Somebody's finishing on 3 wheels. It looks like it's Andy Rohde. Andy Rohde finishing the race on 3 wheels. He's in the number 8 car. What a trooper.
Fine job of driving by Andy Rohde. He came out of the 3rd and 4th turn, minus 1 wheel, but that did not deter Andy from taking the checkered flag, although he did have to do it on 3 wheels, and that's no easy task at all.
And the rest of the drivers had to cope with that stray wheel rolling around.
They didn't want to hit that wheel and maybe break something on their automobile.
So
Charles
Avondette is our winner.
does a fine job.
And now you see Andy Rohde dejected as he goes chasing his tire down. There you see the number 8 car. He lost the right rear wheel, as evidenced by the fact that the other wheels are still on. And the PA announcer was asking him if he was able to drive in the Conti, and he said, nope, I'm finished. I'm washed up, folks.
I don't know, maybe Andy's pit crew might have something to say about that, but Andy says no go.
All right, we'll be back because Figure 8 racing continues here on ESPN. Still to come, the Consolation Finals and, of course, the championship.
Just when things are easing down, trouble starts up. And when the dust and everything else is settled, you head for the mountains. Push. Head for the beer brewed natural as a mountain stream, for a taste as smooth as its name. Bush. Head for Bush beer. Head for the mountains.
Man, you better not come on too strong if you want to take me out tonight. I've had enough of Mr. Wrong. I want to be with Mr. Right.
There are enough Mr. Wrongs. Get the right spray.
I've had enough of Mr. Wrong. I want to be with Mr. Right. Mr. Right.
See your all-time favorites at the PGA World Seniors Invitational. Flashy Chichi Rodriguez, Arnold Palmer, Don January, and Gary Player take their best shots at the Payne Weber World Seniors Invitational. Starting Friday at 2 Eastern, live on ESPN.
The consolation heat of these Figure 8 World Championships is about to get underway. We have 11 cars in this consolation final. We should add that Andy Rohde had the tire put back on the number 8 car. He's back in competition. And Dan Marcello's pit crew put his car back together. They're racing.
Well, it shows you how important pit crews are in any aspect of automobile racing. 2 cars that people thought may not be back on the track are back out as the green flag flies for the consolation event.
James Hulse, the 97 car, was our pole sitter. I should add that the order was drawn out of a hat. It was strictly random how these cars lined up for the pole today.
So you had to have a little luck picking out of the hat earlier here this morning as Spencer Hulse takes the lead, and Andy Rohde, despite his misfortune in the heat race, is battling for second.
Riverhead Raceway is pretty much a 6-cylinder, 250 cubic inch racetrack, but they did allow the 8 cylinders in for this one, didn't it?
Well, the Figure 8's weekly here, Leandra, as you mentioned, the limitation is 250 cubic inch with a 6-cylinder motor. However, for this World Championship event, since many of the tracks across the country do run...
Oh, wait, Andy Rohde lost that tire again. Number 8 car. We saw it come off in the earlier qualifying heats, and it just came off in the consolations. Andy Rohde once again losing that right rear tire.
Well, apparently his pit crew thought they had the problem cured. However, the tire again removing itself from Andy Rohde's automobile, and I think this is going to be the final blow on his afternoon. However, his wheel continues. In fact, the wheel has done more time on the racetrack than the car here today.
Getting back very quickly, though, to the engine sizes, we do have some 8 cylinders out here. They are allowed, but you said because of the tight turns,
yeah,
they prefer the 6 cylinders.
The 6 cylinders are a lot easier to work with on a short track like this. A lot of the tracks across the country are bigger, and that's why they use 8 cylinders.
All right, let's go to Marty Reed while Andy Reid calls it a day.
Tommy, a nice run there in the heat.
Thank you. It was a long race. Seemed like it would never end.
Looks like the car is handling very, very well.
Yeah, well, we had some, we got bent up pretty good Saturday night. We worked on it all night Saturday night and all day yesterday. We finished it up this morning. We got here late. Went out and practiced. We got things straightened out a little bit. We put some new tires on. It seems to be okay.
It certainly does. Good luck in the final.
Thank you.
And we are back racing here in heat number 3 as you saw Tom Kraft, the winner of heat number 2, talking with Marty Reid. Our leader right now is James Hulse, car number 97.
Jimmy debuted this car late in the 1985 season here at Riverhead, and he hasn't had much time to work out the new car bugs, as they call them. But right now, it looks as though he's done a fine job in doing just that as he leads the consi.
All right, for the first time this afternoon, we're seeing the importance of the intersection here at the X. The cars, since there are 11 in this heat, are a little bit more spread out, so the drivers have to watch the intersection.
Not only do they have to worry about the driver behind them, but now they do have to start worrying about the X intersection as Hulse is beginning to lap slower automobiles as well.
And that always adds to the confusion.
White flag down for Jimmy Hulse just one more time around, and he'll have the checkered flag here in the consi. But more important than that, he'll be in the World Championship Figure 8 race.
And Jimmy Hulse will drive by our starter, Ray Mortuano, and pick up the checkered flag for his victory lap. Well-deserved performance by Jimmy Hulse here at Riverhead Raceway.
And with that win, I think Jim's confidence about his chances of getting a good finish in the World Championship event might be increased. As I mentioned earlier, Jim debuting this car late in the season, but it looks as though things are starting to shape up on that number 97 automobile.
There's Jim taking down the net, taking off his helmet so the fans can see his face. There he gets the flag from Ray. We should add that Ray Marciano is retiring after this year, and he's a very popular starter here at Riverhead Raceway, and they're going to miss him.
Absolutely. Ray's the very best in his trade, and Jim takes the traditional victory lap.
And the results of this Consolation heat: Jimmy Hulse the winner, Spencer Hulse second, Bob Lohr driving 57 car finishes in third place. And these are the cars that are getting ready for the final. They're moving out onto the track, as we will see over 30 cars going through the figure eight. But Marty Reed is standing by with a three-wheeler.
Andy, all I can say is you lied. You said you weren't going to make it back for the Consolation.
Got a few friends who didn't want me to stay in the pits. They wanted me to get out there and do my thing. We didn't last long enough.
Well, you gave it a good shot, though.
We welded it together, and it just wasn't strong enough.
Let me ask you something. How much money are some of these guys, yourself included, putting into these cars?
Oh, it's getting up close to $10,000 in some of these cars. This one doesn't have that kind of money in it, but some of the brand new ones that can be competitive really have that kind of money in it.
Spend 10 grand to make 1,500 doesn't make much sense, does it?
Well, it doesn't make much sense if you've been doing it for a long time, but if you're interested in going someplace and racing, that's the dues you pay to get there. Only when it's all over do you know whether it's worth it or not, but you got to play the game.
You'll be back again?
We'll be back again. This time we got to come back with new stuff. We can't do it with the old stuff.
I'd like to see Andy Rohde out here with three wheels. He was a fight to the finish. All right, as you can see, the cars are lined up for the start of this World Championship Figure 8 Finals. Ray Marciano sprints off the track, and Gino Terrapicchio has the pole, with Ralph Tasso also on the front row.
Ironic thing about this, Leandra, these two drivers are good friends off the racetrack. In fact, Ralph wrecked his race car here just 48 hours ago, and Gino was one of the guys who helped them put it back together.
And already we see two cars that had to head to the infield to escape the traffic. Remember, there's 31 cars out here that started, and it's very, very crowded.
It's only a quarter-mile oval, so 31 cars in the figure 8 course, with all those treacherous turns and intersection, makes for some wild and woolly action.
Terrapicchio and Tasso still our leaders, and a lot of contact going on. I think I saw somebody lose a wheel. Oh, look at the intersection.
We got a near miss right there. Is very early on. Traffic begins to spread out, and watch out, that X is going to become one of the busiest roads in America. No problems there, though, as Tasso, Terrapicchio are now being chased down by George Brown. And one of our drivers from Michigan, Bobby Bells, car number 37, has worked his way up towards the front.
Terrapicchio still our leader in car number 74, Ralph Tasso number 19. And the cars are getting to be quite spread out. There's number 19, Ralph Tasso. Looks like his lead is widened a little bit. You've got to explain those flags that are on Terrapicchio's car. What are those about?
That's a long tradition with the Terrapicchio family. Gino is a second-generation driver, as I think we have some problems up in turn number 1. We'll get back to that.
That's right. We have a collision up there.
Johnny Zell way up in the air, and right underneath him is Fred Lemack. Zell, a mailman by trade, and looks as though he wanted to do a little air mail here in the World Championship Figure 8 event. Both drivers unstrapping from the automobile. I think Fred Lemack's a little upset, Leandra.
There he is climbing out of the number 1 car, pointing his finger.
Oh.
He's really mad. Ooh.
Shows off a little soccer form there.
Tough sport to be playing soccer and against iron. All right, keep your eye in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. There you'll see where the mishap takes place.
A couple of cars getting out of shape. And then Fred Lemack and Johnny Zell just had nowhere to go. They get pinched up towards the outer wall. You see Lemack going right underneath Zell's automobile. Zell almost went over on his roof. Luckily, the roll stopped, though, on the left 2 wheels. Zell out of his automobile, picking up his front bumper.
All right, Lemack was really upset with Spencer Hulse because he felt he's the one who started the mishap. But it's a day now for Lemack, and we will be back with more racing as he puts his bumper in the rear window there. Stay with us.
commitment, experience. It all comes together when you work with the best. Master Mechanic tools, only from True Value Hardware stores. At the Indianapolis Speedway or in your own garage, they're backed by True Value Hardware stores' commitment, experience, and exclusive customer satisfaction policy. Master Mechanic tools, exclusively from True Value Hardware stores and home centers.
What's happening? The world-famous MetLife representative is adding new recruits to his prompt payment squadron. You mean the one that makes sure MetLife claim checks get delivered promptly? Yes, it's very important. Snoopy is really getting tough with his new recruits, isn't he? Only the best will do for MetLife customers. What happens to the birds who don't make it into the prompt payment squadron? They go into advertising. Get Met, it pays.
John Zell, Fred Lemack had to call it a day. Right now, let's go down to Marty Reed as we see Fred Lemack's car getting towed from the track.
Fred, what happened out there?
Well, everybody got cornered up in that corner up there, and I came flying by there, and someone gave me a good shove in the back and went right under Johnny Zell in the 10.
It looked like you got out of the car and gave a good kick to somebody.
Yeah, because I had the car stopped, and he just drove right into the back of me and just pushed me right under him.
Tough way to go out.
Yeah, tough way. We might be able to get it fixed.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, back on the track. Unfortunate circumstances for Fred Lemack and Johnny Zell. As you can see, our starter has asked the cars to begin moving. On the front row, we have Ralph Tasso and Gino Terrapicchio.
See if these two gentlemen continue their battle here for the lead position in this 25-lap event.
Now, once again, to reiterate about those flags, there's an American flag and an Italian flag on Terrapicchio's car?
Yes, what it is Gino is a second-generation driver. His dad, Luigi, used to drive that automobile before he, and in the early 1960s, just after immigrating here to the United States from Italy, Luigi wanted to show off his old home flag and his new home flag, and he put them up on the race car. They've been there ever since, no matter who has driven a Luigi Terrapicchio-owned automobile.
Luigi Terrapicchio and his son Gino Terrapicchio. Those aren't Italian names. Riley isn't Irish.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, Terrapicchio still having his hands full with the rookie chauffeur. Gentleman only started his racing career, Leandra, midway through the 1985 season. Ralph Tasso, and he barely misses somebody at the ice.
All right, we have a red flag again, and the reason why is we have a spin out. A spin out in turn number 1.
It's like car number 57, Bob Lohr, involved in the action. Looks like he just got out of shape. He hooked up with the number 97 at Jimmy Hulse, and they necessitate a caution. Look at Hulse go up in the air and into the wall. It's a little more severe than first thought.
Ouch.
Sometimes these cars, Leandra, get a little bit out of shape, and if a driver has to slow down to try to correct an ill-handling automobile, it can play havoc behind them.
We should add that both drivers are okay. We're going to take a timeout. When we return, this championship will...
If you own a house, you gotta own a shop vac. This baby's got the power to pick up almost anything.
Got broken glass, nails, or wood chips? Shop vac gobbles up stuff that would kill an ordinary vacuum. And a shop vac wet dry can even vacuum water like a flooded basement.
The washing machine is flooding the house.
No.
Every house needs a shop vac. Starting at under $50, a shop vac is heavy duty, not heavy money. And remember, if it doesn't say shop vac, keep shopping.
Listen, how would you like to save some money and get something I'm absolutely sure you can use and enjoy right now, right where you are? It's TV Guide, America's favorite television magazine, and here's the story.
Right now, call 800-228-5858 for 30 weeks of TV Guide and 3 easy monthly installments of just $5.75 each. 800-228-5858.
Call now. You'll be glad you did.
What's next for Doug Flutie? ESPN talks live to the quarterback without a team during halftime of the Penn State-Boston College game, Saturday night.
Welcome back to Riverhead. As you can see, the officials are on the track trying to put the cars back in order. And Bob Finan, I think we owe our viewers an explanation of what they're trying to accomplish here.
Well, we have 3 scorers here in the press box of Riverhead. They score the race lap by lap. A restarting order is attained by going back to the last completed lap. last completed lap, the order you were running, that's where you will restart. Right now, one of the drivers not agreeing with that restarting order.
So the officials are trying to straighten out some of the confusion here. Our Marty Reed is standing by. Remember, we've had a couple of spin-outs here, and one of them involved Dan Avendette. Marty Reed has corralled the number 3 car, and he's speaking with that driver right now.
Danny, we can hardly see you in there. What happened?
Well, there was traffic up in the 4th turn coming out, and we kind of tangled. I had no place to go. So I ran into somebody, and I bent the upper A-frame, so we're trying to straighten it out now to get back out there.
You think you'll be able to get it?
Yeah, we'll get back out there. We'll give it a shot.
You can see the flames are firing everywhere as they're trying to put this car back together. The entire crew, it's non-stop frantic action as the race is yet to restart. And Danny Avendette shouting instructions to everybody, and there goes the sledgehammer. Leandra, do they do this in NASCAR and IndyCar racing?
Well, I don't know that they really see the sledgehammers out there, but they do whatever is necessary to get those cars back on the track during the caution flag. I don't know. Danny Avendette's got his work cut out for him.
This pit crew doing a fine job as well, Leandra. They're the guys that make these cars go on and off the racetrack. They do a lot of work as well in the shops. They also have to run about 200 yards away from the racetrack to get to their truck to do all this work. So they have to be sort of a world-class sprinter as well as a good mechanic to get all this work done.
The geographic location, right, of the track and the pits, and of course it's the luck of the draw where you're assigned your pit position. If you're far away in the pits, you can just about consider it a day if you get some damage to your tire or your car.
Danny's going to make it back out, minus the front nose piece.
But racing has already started here, and out in front we still see Gino Tirapicchio with the flags on his hood.
That's right, he's still being chased by Ralph Tasso, and right now Bobby Mason has joined the first 3 automobiles, so a good showing here early for the veteran, although he's now being challenged by George Brown. Brown and Mason side by side in that battle for position number 3 as Gino negotiates the intersection. This time it's relatively traffic-free.
And we've lost a few cars, so the intersection isn't too important. We do have one trailer there, but it's Tirapicchio and Tasso still out in front.
Gino just trying to pace himself right now, not getting into too much trouble, although he's near miss right there. As the number 7 of Ray Thies, I believe it was, crisscrossing in front of him. Car getting out of shape coming through the X. Tasso has closed up that battle for the lead.
Gino Tirapicchio of Lake Ronkonkoma, Ralph Tasso from Bohemia.
Now they have some lap cars that were forced to stop at the X intersection. This also becomes very dangerous. Cars everywhere right now on this racetrack. There's a little spinning and a little stopping at the X has made it a little hairy, if you will, out there. Right now, the leaders coming up to lap Spencer Hulse, and a car stopped at the X, Paul Galvin, car number 53.
You know, Marty had asked me about the NASCAR. So we have a collision here, turn number 4, and it's involving car number 37, Bob Bells. And I believe it's car number 73, Mike Moat.
Wow, Mike Moat's car really showing the signs of that collision. Have to take a look.
Right in the left top of your screen, you can see the spin out there. There's Moat.
And car number 11, Paul Grotewald, also involved, and Tom Kraft just barely slipping by in car number 9. Good piece of driving by Kraft.
And there you see Bob Bells from Spartan Speedway. He's leaving the track. Mike Moat from Mount Clemens, Michigan. So we've got a couple of drivers from Michigan who drove all the way to New York to get in an accident.
They have to leave the racetrack at the same time, and I bet you they don't even do that much out there at the Flat Rock Speedway and the Spartan Speedway, where they usually compete.
So once again, we have the cars lining up, and our Marty Reed is in the pit with another interview, more information on this race.
Mount Clemens, Michigan is the home of Shirley Muldowney and drag racing. It also happens to be the home of Mike Moat. Mike, it's been a long haul for you all the way here to Long Island, and it looks pretty bad right now.
Well, we're going to try and get it straightened out. Right now I got a couple guys from other crews. They've been pretty good to us here as far as jumping in and trying to give us a hand, make sure we're running.
While we're talking here, the front end is going up. The rear end also needs work. Is it hopeless, or is it one of these situations, never give up?
Never give up. Definitely never give up. We're going to try and go for it, then get me back out there. I'm going to just run as hard as I can.
The pride of Mount Clemens, Michigan, as the crew thrashes away.
Thank you, Marty Reed. And the cars are lining up, but it looks like Danny Marcello isn't exactly happy with the order of go here. He's pulled out of the formation, and what's he doing?
Danny is very upset right now about something spinning around. Danny did not take the initial green flag, and I do believe the officials are not going to let him compete. You must take the initial green flag. And Danny's really putting some miles on those back tires right now. He's upset.
Is he just doing this to show anger? Is that...
I think that's about what he's doing. It's his form of protest right now about not being allowed to compete. Now he starts to move the car. Maybe he's going to go off the racetrack, although he is not heading towards the exit ramp.
So he's out of the race, as I understand it. He's not allowed to line up at the back of the pack at all.
No,
he's out of there.
You must take the initial green flag. If you don't take the initial green flag, you're not in the race.
And here we see Dan Avendette back in the racetrack. Oh, no, he's leaving the racetrack.
Danny
now
feeling
he came
problems.
back on.
Yeah.
And had to have his A-frame straightened out. Evidently, there's some more malfunctions as Danny Marcello is still...
And Marcello is just going to drive around the racetrack, Leandra. That's what it looks like to me. Somebody's going to have to stop him.
How? This is a tough predicament. Now, here's the starter going up to him and chastising him. This is Ray Marciano. Oh, he's pulling the wires.
Oh, he's pulling all the electronic and the spark plug wires out.
Look at Marciano. I don't believe this. Look at this.
I don't believe this.
Holy mackerel. You're going to miss Marciano. He's retired.
You know, Ray has been doing this for a long time, Leandra, and this has to be one of the most obscene things he's ever had to do.
I think we're going to have a tough exchange of words here. Marciano and Marcello yelling at each other.
Danny's had a temper all through his racing career. Big Bob O'Rourke, racing director here on Long Island, out there with his van. He weighs some 450 pounds. I don't think Danny wants to mess with him.
No, I would. Marciano's telling Marcello to get out of here. Marciano, I think, called for the tow truck to pull him out of here.
This was a hockey game. He would have gotten a 10-minute misconduct and a game misconduct by now.
Possibly a game injection. The Medal of Valor goes to Marciano for reaching in there and grabbing the wires.
You know, I'll tell you
Here
something.
we go.
We're now. They both out there Italian up. Look out.
Welcome to boxing at Riverhead Raceway.
Danny's really upset. I've never seen Danny this upset. Security now on the racetrack. Chief security here out on the racetrack. He's a little bigger than Danny, so maybe Danny will listen to him.
And the tow truck has removed Marcello's car, and security is escorting Mr. Marcello from the track.
One of the wildest things I've ever seen in 15 years of the figure 8 racing that I've been witnessing, so.
I know it gets hot at the X intersection there, but look at this.
Now he's arguing with Chief Steward Walter Etzel is Mr. Marcello. The Chief Steward is what the referee is to a boxing match or a hockey game. And that's Walt Etzel's job right now, and he's telling Danny Marcello, look, you didn't take the green flag, you can't run the race. But Marcello obviously feels that explanation's not good enough.
Right, now we have Ralph Tasso. Where's he going? He was on the front. What?
Oh, the rookie campaigner has a left rear tire while leading the event.
What a tough break for Ralph Tasso. Now, if he changes the tire, he can come back out, but he has to go to the back of the pack.
Yeah, the rule is if you do perform work on your automobile, Leandra, in the pit area, you must go to the rear of the field, much like a Grand National automobile. When they make a pit stop, they obviously can't go back to their running position. They must rejoin the rear of the field. You see how far the pit crews have to run now.
Yeah, they have to sprint from watching the race to this position that they were assigned just to change that tire. Meanwhile, they have to hope that the race doesn't start and they can get back out there to get in on it.
You see Roger Maynard, car number 28, he too making repairs on his automobile. So the pit's as busy as the racetrack right now while we're under the red flag conditions.
Tough break for Ralph Tasso.
Oh, you talk about heartbreak. That's it right there. If you had to make a definition for the word heartbreak, this is it. One of the neighboring crews also helping out. That's an interesting point here in figure 8 racing. Although they compete against each other, they bang fenders each and every week. They have a club out here, the Suffolk Association for Figure 8 Racing. They have meetings, and all these guys are pretty much friends, and it's not unusual to see other pit crews helping out other drivers.
Since they don't go over the wall, there isn't a limited number of guys who can work on your car. We see quite a few fellows around the Ralph Tasso car.
Yeah, almost
no
too many
there.
right now. Too many hands in the kitchen is no good, and that could be half the problem. Roger Maynard looks like he's changing an axle, by the way.
Tasso's coming back out onto the track, and real quick, I'd like to go over some more qualifications. The #1 car will be stripped down, just like NASCAR. You have to meet the specifications. You can only have a 2-barrel carburetor. High dome pistons are not allowed. You can only have the flat racing pistons. No electric fuel pumps. And of course, the bumpers must be smooth, no cow catches, no rough or jagged edges. So there are some pretty strict rules on the specifications of these cars. Again, we brought up several times, 6-cylinder engines are ideal for this figure-8 track. But I do have to ask you, what is a cow catch?
Well, a cow catcher bumper, the front bumper has to resemble pretty much a stock bumper. A lot of guys used to come out with a lot of steel mounted almost 2 feet high in front of the automobile, almost looked like the front of a plow. And you're not allowed to have one of those. And somehow along the way, it got the nickname of cow catcher. There's Ray Mortuano, who may have gotten over the electrical shock he suffered.
I say his blood pressure's got to be up there.
Marcelo's wires out of his automobiles. He's back to normal now, if you can call any of this normal.
All right. What a strange turn of events. As Marcelo flared his temper, and the starter agrees that everybody's in the right order.
The front row now will be Gino Terrapicchio and sophomore driver Tom Ryan, car number 09. As Tasso has to go to the back of the pack, and he loses that lead position. So Terrapicchio now inherits the lead with Ryan running second. Second row behind them, John Ford and George Brown, who is known affectionately here at Riverhead Raceway as Downtown George Brown, as the green flies. Scattered action in front of the pack right now, but as they string out coming through the straightaway, it's Terrapicchio followed by Ryan. Good battle for position number 3 right now, side by side. Car number 34, John Fortin and George Brown. And Tom Kraft has worked his way up towards the front of the pack, one of our heat race winners here this afternoon.
It's still Terrapicchio out in front, followed by Ryan, and now we can see that intersection's becoming more and more important.
You got to remember, the front of the pack is going faster and faster, and the back markers might be getting slower and slower. Look out now.
The back of the pack yields as Terrapicchio plows through the intersection. We should add that they go about 55 miles an hour through that intersection. They don't slow down for anything.
And right now, George Brown has moved up to position number 2. John Fortin is third, and I do not understand what happened to Tom Ryan, although now we see what happened to Tom Ryan as a red flag comes out. There's
the tire on the track. Somebody.
Tom Ryan.
Ryan
was running second. Lost the tires. You see his car sitting disabled on the back straightaway here at Riverhead.
And we saw that Mike Moat got back into the race in time. The 73 cars. You look at Tom Ryan sitting on 3 wheels.
Taking a look at that left front wheel, and it broke off. He might be thinking about making repairs. We don't know. He just might be looking things over. Oh, now he's entered a jog, so I guess that the
he's gonna try to get his equipment.
He thinks he can get back in this thing. Watch out.
Oh, look at that. That's hot.
Well, I think Tom's going to
trying to entertain the crowd here. Oh, he's using it for a potholder.
Another good use for a fire suit.
All right, he'll go to the pits, try to fix things up, and come back out. And we're going to go to a break and try to straighten things out. Terrapicchio.
I bet you Luigi Terrapicchio, Gino's dad, former figure 8 competitor, biting the fingernails right now. Look out.
And he's widening the lead.
Brown has got things pretty much under control. I'd say it's about a 2-car length advantage right now. Again, though, the traffic
The traffic is going to hurt this race for George Brown. Terrapicchio closing in.
A lot of figure 8 drivers will tell you that it is best to be in about the 3rd or 4th position in a figure 8 race, late in the race, just in case those leaders really have to hit the brake pedal at the X. You have the momentum, and you can go through, and it is getting hairy out there.
Again, 55 miles an hour through the X as the leaders catch up with the back of the pack, and this is scary.
Oh, man, lap traffic also playing havoc with the leaders. The intersection, they have to have eyes in the back of their head right at this point. That battle for 3rd continuing to rage on. Just 2 laps to go, Leandra. All the poker players are going to have to show their hands here. No holding back now. Lapped automobile, Dan Watts, car number 12, right in front of the leaders. They're going to have to try and work by him as the white flag flies.
All right, and it is still car number 41 out in front.
George Brown, just 2 more turns, and he'll be the new world champion. Oh, look out!
Terrapicchio tapped him. Now remember, car number 12 is a lapped car, so car number 9, Kraft, is our
Gino Terrapicchio takes the checkered flag. wild goings on. Turns 3 and 4.
That looks a little shady to me.
I don't know.
Let's take another look at it.
Brown is going conservatively, and Terrapicchio
he tapped him.
Doesn't look as though he ever hit the brakes. Terrapicchio continues on. Kraft in car number 9 continues on with Fortin pressuring him. And I don't know, but Terrapicchio takes the checkered flag. And George Brown.
Oh, he came back out.
He's
Look at
upset.
him. Uh-oh.
Brown is upset.
Oh, there. It's like another job for Ray Marciano. All the way up on his wheel.
George Brown now looking over Gino saying, hey, come on, buddy. What's going on here? What's with the...
$1,000 at stake here. And, of course, what this means for George Brown is he gets no money. He didn't finish in the top 3.
No, he'll be relegated down further in the top 10. But right now, your World Figure 8 champion since car number 74. The Italian and American flags fly for Gino Terrapicchio. And a lot of wild goings on here, Leandro. I'll tell you, I've been watching this World Championship Figure 8 race for the better part of 15 years now at both Islip and Riverhead. And I've never seen this kind of unpredictable and wild action before.
Now, they haven't handed him the checkered flag yet. It looks like there's more controversy.
Track announcer Mike Kalanoff down there, but...
They're black flagging him.
Wait a minute. Wait.
They're throwing him out.
Marciano says no soak.
So the checkered flag will go to Kraft.
I think Tom Kraft was second place. Remember, I said Walter Edsel. And here comes your world champion right now, Tom Kraft. Walter Edsel, the Chiefs too. We saw arguing with Dan Marcel before. He's like a referee in a hockey game. He's handed out a penalty to Gino Terrapicchio. Tom Kraft is your new world champion. Kraft was in the pits, ready to have a cold drink after this hot afternoon of racing here, and now he finds himself $1,000 richer and World Figure 8 champ.
So some strange goings on as Tom Kraft of Central Islip wins his Figure 8 championship.
Personal Best, brought to you by the U.S. Army, a place to be all you can be. Wrestler Pete Gomez hopes to be a high school coach. He achieves his personal best with family support.
When it comes time to wrestle, the whole family bears down and everybody is serious about the wrestling. And then when it's time to relax, the whole family jumps in the van and we drive to a movie and just relax. And whatever we're doing it as a family.
In the Army, we do more before 9 a.m. than most people do all day.
Hey, First Sergeant. Good morning.
Hey, where did you learn about computers?
In the Army.
You were in the Army, too?
Qualify for the GI Bill and the Army College Fund, and you can earn over $25,000 for college.
What you do in the Army?
Airborne.
You used to jump out of airplanes?
I think they're going to have to change the name of this event to the Controversial Figure 8 Championships after Terrapicchio was black flagged. Tom Kraft was declared the winner. Now I understand there's still some more controversy. Marty Reed is in the pits, and he's going to straighten out who actually won this race. Marty?
There have been more changes in the finish of this Figure 8 race than we can possibly try and keep up with. John Fortin has been declared the winner. Tommy Kraft has been set down. First off, Tommy, what happened to the car?
Well, we had high dome pistons in the motor. I didn't really know about them. And when they pulled it apart, they found them. John drove a good race. He finished second. I got set down. He gets the win.
So, John, going into the last lap, you were basically in fourth spot, and all of a sudden now you're carrying home the trophy.
Yeah, I was happy for fourth, but I'm more happy for first.
What does this take a little bit of the edge off, knowing now that, you know, it was a few minutes, in fact, quite a few minutes before you were declared the winner?
Yeah.
But you'll still take the money?
Definitely.
And you'll take the trophy?
Definitely.
I want to know one thing. The trophy doesn't look as banged up as all your guys' cars.
That's true. It's a rough race out there. It's just glad to finish, that's all.
Your 1985 World Figure 8 champion, John Fortin.
And John Fortin picks up $1,000 for his first place finish, $600 second place to Bill Steen, $400 to Jerry Bowers for finishing third. Bob McDermott finished fourth. George Brown recovered enough to capture fifth place. It has been a controversial day here at Riverhead.
Certainly has. Earlier on, of course, Dan Marcello spinning his automobile around a few times to show his displeasure with an official decision. Then the last lap controversy between the two leaders, George Brown being spun, the officials say, by Gino Terrapicchio. And then the win changed hands in the technical teardown area way after the race had been completed. So it's been wild.
It certainly has. We've had enough black flags to kill all the bugs in Long Island. But our congratulations to John Fortin, Bill Steen, Jerry Bowers, who finished 1, 2, and 3 in this 22nd annual World Championship Figure 8 stock car race. For Marty Reed and Bob Finan, I'm Leandra Riley. So long, everyone, from Riverhead.